she came to me one day and said, we need to stop going to the Indian restaurant because their food is just too rich. And so I agreed that we shouldn't go there anymore. And I'll be working late at the conference office, and I could hear the Indian restaurant calling my name. And so I would go, and so I got home. I'd get home, and I'd get into bed, and she'd say, "You've been to the Indian restaurant, haven't you?" And I'm thinking, how do you know that? How do you know that? And so she said, I can smell your breath. So I decided that the next time I went out, I'd get myself some extra strong mint to disguise the fact that I'd been to the Indian restaurant. And even with the strong mints, I got into bed, and she said to me, "You've been to the Indian restaurant, haven't you?" And that was my lifestyle. And so I'm telling you all of this to say that we only have one life, one health. We only have one health. And one of the things that we don't do is to invest in our health, because we're living in a country where healthcare comes free. And so we're just very nonchalant, So because we only have one health and one life, we need to look after that which God has given to us. So you will never hear that Sam Davis died doing skydiving. You don't hear that I died doing bungee jumping, unless the bungee jumper dropped on my head and killed me, because I've got to look after that which God has given to me. And so with our health, we really have to be willing to invest in that which God has given to us, which is your health. And so, we go along in life, we'll buy a new computer, we'll buy a fancy car, we will buy all sorts of gadgets, but we're not willing to invest in our health. And we need to reverse our thinking, because unless we're willing to invest in the most important thing that we have, then we can lose it. I want to speak to you today about the suppression of disease this afternoon. And what I want to say to you is that if you are on drug medication under the care of your doctor, please continue to do what you are doing. Do not stop your drug medication or anything like that. I'm just sharing with you this afternoon on this subject, this suppression of disease, Jeremiah chapter 8:22. Is there no balm in Gilead? Is there no physician there? Why then is not the health of the daughter of my people recovered? And I firmly believe that there is a balm in Gilead. God has given to us as Seventh-day Adventists a wonderful health message. We live very busy, stressful lives. We're always on the go. We are under the tyranny of the clock. There's the rent to pay, there's the mortgage, there are car payments, credit cards, food bills. There are so many things that we have to pay. We have to keep going. Therefore, I don't want that thing to be across my desk, cancelled due to ill health. She's sick again. And I don't want my employers to be thinking that I'm sickly. So you know what, doc? Just give me a pill so that I can keep going. Is that the narrative? Just hook me up. And so a breakdown of the over-the-counter drug market here in this country, £2.62 billion are spent on drug medication that we just walk into the chemist and we're able to buy over the counter. If I just go back a little, we do that for pain, we do that for stomach, we do that for analgesics or for children's medication. So there is all kind of things, and then this is excluding the prescription drugs that the doctors give to us. Okay, so there's a lot of drugs that we're taking. And the question is, there no balm in Gilead? Has God not given to us an alternative? And I used this morning. Drug medication, as it is generally practiced, is a curse. Educate away from drugs. Use them less and less and depend more upon hygienic agencies. Then nature will respond to God's physicians, pure air, pure water, proper exercise, a clear conscience. My dad died a few years ago, and I was one of Daddy's carers. If you can't see me, please move to somewhere you can see. Yeah, I was one of Daddy's carers, and as I was just doling out his medication, I said, Dad, you could start your own pharmacy right from here. He was had so many tablets that he was taking on a daily basis, and every one of them with a side effect, right? Every one of them with a side effect. When we moved to Spain, I was living next door to an English couple, and we got talking one day, and he said, you know what, Sam, my wife and I, we're on drugs. We're taking 6 tablets each. And he said, the great thing about Spain is that we get them cheaper. You know, so that's not so great. You know, and I just need to tell you that it is not God's plan and God's desire for you to get up in the morning and to be taking 6 pills or 5 pills to get yourself started or to get through the day. Amen? Amen. That's not God's desire for any one of us. Those who persist in the use of tea, coffee, flesh meats will feel the need of drugs, but many might recover without 1 grain of medicine if they would obey the laws of health. And so the laws of health, water drinking, going for a walk. Ellen White says if you would go for a 30 minutes walk every day, that walk is far better than any medication the doctor can give you. Do you hear what I said? Yes. Just 30 minutes. So many of us, we're not exercising, we're not walking, we're not doing the things that we should do, and then and you say the exercise oxygenates the blood. Our objective in life is to make pure blood, and I need to tell you that you cannot make pure blood on chicken and chips. You can't make pure blood when you're eating dead flesh. It's not possible. You see? And so if we are to make pure blood, then we need to change the things that we're doing. By the use of poisonous drugs, many bring upon themselves lifelong illness, and many lives are lost that might be saved by the use of natural methods of healing. The poisons that are contained in many so-called remedies create habits and appetites that mean ruin to both soul and body. You know, and so sometimes we're taking in these drugs. And I was at home with my mother. My mother has dementia, and she's taking quite a number of tablets. She's 90, and so they rang to say, well, we need to give your mother another drug that's going to protect the lining of her stomach, because all the tablets that she's taking is just going to erode the lining of the stomach. So I refused. I said I don't want my mother to take any more drugs, and I'll give her something for the stomach. But so the following day I'm there. There's a ring on the door at the doorbell, and I open the door, and there's a lady, and I said, "Can I help you?" And she said, "Yes, I'm from the NHS, and there's a safeguarding issue here." There's a safeguarding issue. So I decided I wasn't going to fight it, because I don't live with my mother. I've got power of attorney for my mum for health and finance, but because I'm not living there, I'm going back to Spain. I decided to let it slide. But all these things that you're taking, they are having an impact on the body. There is a balm in Gilead. 2 Kings 1 verses 1 and 3. But the angel of the Lord said to Elijah the Tishbite, "Go up and meet the messengers of the king of Samaria and ask them, is it because there is no God in Israel that you are going off to consult Beelzebub, the god of Ekron?" And so you know this story. The king had fallen through the lattice of his roof, and he is sent down to Ekron to find out whether he's going to live or die. And God is offended, because God says, is it because there's no God in Israel that you're going to send to a dead God, a God who can't see, a God who cannot hear, to ask him if you're going to live? It is an offense. And God is saying to us as his people that there is a balm in Gilead, there is a better way that God has for us if we are willing. This video will not play, but Dr. Peter Gotzer He is the head of the Cochrane Center. It's a research center. I'm reading his book right now. He used to be a medical salesman for the big pharmaceutical companies, and he shows that drug medication is the third largest killer after heart disease and cancer. Okay, and so it's also involved, where it shows you where the drug companies are not interested in your health; they're interested in making money. That's the bottom line for them. Oh, it's playing. I didn't think it would. Never mind. There we go. The responsibility for taking drugs is ours, not the doctors. We are told that we are not excusable if through ignorance we destroy God's building by taking into our stomachs poisonous drugs under a variety of names that we do not understand. It is our duty to refuse all such prescriptions. So I was sick some years ago, and I went to the doctor, and he said to me, I don't know what's wrong with you. And we chatted for a while. I'm asking him questions, and as I was about to leave, he wrote out his prescription. And I said, what's this for? And he says, well, it's to help you. And I said, but you don't know what's wrong with me. But he's writing something to help me. And so, beloved, we're living in an age of information. So if there's something wrong and you go to the doctor and he gives you a prescription, check it out on Google. Look at the side effects. First thing you do, look at the side effects. What is this thing going to do to me? Sometimes the doctor will give you an analysis, and when you check it out against Google, you discover that it's way off. That's not what those symptoms do not correlate with what's happening to me. Okay, so disease can be successfully treated without drugs. Just lifestyle change the lifestyle. I was telling you that I had heart disease. I had so many things going on, and just by changing my lifestyle, changing what I was doing, I've been able to get rid of my problems. What about the use of drugs in an emergency? 100%. If you are sick and you're in an emergency situation, that's not the time to call for the carrot juice. You need emergency help. And you need to get yourself to the hospital, get the help that you need, but do the lifestyle change. Do whatever you need to do to stay alive. That's very, very important. But I want you to notice this quote. Eli Lilly, founder of one of America's largest drug companies, said, a drug with no side effects is no drug at all. A drug with no side effects is no drug. So if it doesn't have side effects, it's not a drug. And notice this from Dr. Loomis. There is no difference between a drug and a poison except the dosage. Okay. So notice drugs are poisonous substances which are either derived from poisonous plants or manufactured synthetically in the laboratory. They do not change their nature regardless of the type of environment that they are in. So we need to just be conscious of these things, recognize, our our default position. I've got a headache, let me grab a Fensic, let me grab a tablet, I'll grab an aspirin, and so on. Am I telling the truth? That's our go-to. So we need to change, because sickness is the body telling you that there's something that you're doing wrong. There's the body trying to expel toxins. The body's saying that there's something that you're doing wrong. But what we do, we run and we get a tablet in order to suppress that feeling, suppress that pain, so that it will go away, so I can continue. A person cannot be poisoned into health. I'm going to just leave that with you for you to think about. You cannot be poisoned into health. Okay? So when you take those substances, those poisonous substances into your body, all it is doing is suppressing what's happening, turning off some transmitters and so on, but it's not really healing. The doctor's material, Medica says in the preface, if it's not poison, it's not good for medicine. And so, mothers, one of the things that we need to be thinking of, look about natural remedies. What are the natural remedies that we can use for our children? We need to educate ourselves as to some of the things that we can be doing. Oliver Wendell, I firmly believe that if the whole materia medica could be sunk to the bottom of the sea, it would be better for all mankind and all the worse for the fishes. Using drugs, it is contrary to the light that the Lord has been pleased to give. The drugging business has done more harm to our world and has killed more than it's helped. Now, people say, well, that's an old lady writing back in the 19th century, can not possibly have any relevance to 21st century. And yet there are doctors today who are telling you that the third largest killer today is drug medication after cancer and heart disease. In the 21st century. These are 21st century doctors. So drugs may suspend the vital activity of the body so that symptoms disappear, but they do not remove the cause of disease. They may kill germs and sometimes the patients too, but they do not eliminate the bodily conditions which allow germs to thrive and grow in the body. So drugs do not cure disease. They do alleviate many of the symptoms of disease. They also often make the evidence of a disease to disappear. They submerge or suppress a disease so that one does not notice an inward or outward effect of the disease, but it is still there. Okay? All drugs mask symptoms. They mask symptoms and even fatal diseases. Given poisonous drugs amount to harmful interference with the healing process of the body. So, beloved, try to find a natural remedy for what it is that you're going through. Okay? Do not come off your medication unless you can find an alternative. So for example, you go to the doctor, say you've got high blood pressure, and immediately he's going to put you on tablets to reduce that blood pressure. This is not a good thing. If you can try to reduce that high blood pressure naturally, there are things that you can be doing. First thing that you need to be doing is drinking a lot of water. You need to do some exercise, be exercising so that you can bring that blood pressure down naturally. If you do not bring that blood pressure down naturally, I talk to people, they're on blood pressure tablets for years, and then all of a sudden a stroke, or you find that it lowers your kidney function, because when you lower that blood pressure abnormally, that is through drug medication, the liver is still calling for blood, the organs are still calling for blood, the brain is calling for blood. And I had one of our pastors, her spouse had a massive stroke, and just through talking I said to her, by the way, was he on any drugs for blood pressure? She said, yeah, he was taking blood pressure tablets for years. And so this is one of the things that will happen. So we just need to try and make sure that if you can reduce that blood pressure using natural means, natural remedies, and just get out there walking, running, exercising, drinking water, reducing the salt, look at the amount, the kind of food that you're eating. And one thing, let me just say this. West Indians and Africans tend to, we have suffer with diabetes and high blood pressure, and that's because our meals are carb rich. Okay, we have too much carbs in our meals. So carb is converted into glucose in the body. So if when we sit down, we've got macaroni cheese, we got chapati, we got the cassava and the rice, and all of that is sugar. It's sugar, beloved. And so when I moved to Spain, as we changed our lifestyle, my wife said, "Sam, we're only doing one carb, and then you have your protein, you've got your salad, and so on." So these are the things that are going to help you to keep your blood pressure low. The best part of the meal, what's the best part of the meal, beloved? Talk to me.
Breakfast.
No, the best part is your salad. I'm sorry to upset you. This the salad, you know. So if you can begin your, if you can begin your meal having a large salad, and then on your plate you've got cooked veg, a good amount of cooked veggies, and then you've got your protein, 25% protein, cooked veggies and raw veggies. That will keep you healthy. But we tend to be very carb-centered, carb focused. And if you're eating too much carbs, then this is the foundation for diabetes, foundation for heart disease, and then of course, if you've got the saturated fats, it is you're laying yourself open for heart disease. Does that make sense? Okay. So Dr. Herbert Shelton, pain is a symptom of disease. What is pain? Simply sensation of feeling so intensified as to be uncomfortable. Its nature's thou shalt not. I was talking to a friend recently who has plantar fasciitis. She's a nurse, and this thing has been with her for months, and so she said, I've got to go back to work. She went back into work, and they told her, all you have to do is to take pain medication to numb the pain and just work through. I said, you can't do that. You can't do that. Pain is the alarm bell in the building telling you to get out. So you turn off the alarm and remain seated. No, we don't do that. And so when you're taking pain medication, you're turning off the sensation to tell you that there's something wrong in your body. That's like driving along and seeing the red light and going to the mechanic to ask him to remove the red light. It doesn't make sense. And so we do not seek to suppress the pain. Dr. Oswald likened the suppression of pain to muffling alarm bells during a conflagration. But it is worse than this. Suppression of pain not only muffles the alarm, it cripples the firemen. So you cannot keep going through pain and taking drug medication to suppress the pain, because the pain is telling you there's something wrong, there's something not right, and you need to get it checked out. And so what we seek to do is to get to the heart of the reason. Always find out the cause. So when you're in pain, what is the cause? What is causing me to feel this way? So I can then make the change. Making the change is so very important. So look at this. Frontal lobe is the seat of spirituality, morality, the will, and judgment making. In the great controversy between good and evil, an optimally functioning frontal lobe is crucial. We've got to make decisions about life and death. We've got to make decisions about spiritual decisions and so on, which is very, very important. So I just want to share with you drugs that damage the frontal lobe and your ability to make sound decisions. So, asthma medication, anti-inflammatory NSAIDs, beta agonists, tranquilizers, painkillers, antihistamines, blood pressure medication, antidepressants, cold and allergy medication, sleeping tablets. All of these things are affecting our frontal lobe and our ability to think clearly. And this source is Dr. Neil Nedley's book, Proof Positive. So this is coming from a reputable source. As Jesus was on the cross and they gave him pain medication, what did he do? Because he knew it was going to affect his ability to think clearly. And so he said no. So it's so easy. I can't sleep. I'm not sleeping well. So what do? Okay, you don't want to tell me, so let me tell you. Take sleeping tablets. We grab some sleeping tablets. It's so easy. We do all these things. Your blood pressure medication, it's affecting your frontal lobe and your decision making. So, beloved, if we can seek to reverse these things, as I said earlier, with your blood pressure, look at the diet. Look at the amount of saturated fats that's going into the diet. How much fruit, how much raw food are you eating? Just change the diet and do your exercise, it will help greatly. Okay, and then it also has the same thing on your body, antacids containing aluminium. You got the aspirin. People love to get aspirin. I was speaking to one person recently, taking a lot of ibuprofen, which has affected the stomach, wearing away the stomach lining. So we need to change what we do. Drugs form chemical unions that paralyze nerves, destroy cells, and suspend vital action, thereby causing the symptoms of disease to disappear. But the person so treated is actually sicker than he was before, even though for the time he may appear to be feeling better. And so the idea that drugs cure disease has taken such hold of the mind of doctors and their patients that such a thought as possibly nature can do something for herself if given a chance never crosses our minds. The fact is, nature does all the curing that is done. There is not, never was, nor ever will be a drug that will cure a disease. And so, beloved, we just need to think about the natural remedies that God has given to us. How can I, years ago, I was, when I was in South Africa, I went for a test, and this is something else that I would say to you. Have a regular health checkup. One of the things I told myself when I began ministry, I'm not going to let ministry kill me. So every 2 years I would go for a medical checkup. Once I reached the age of 40, I would go for a medical checkup, a full-blown checkup, and they would tell me what was wrong or what was right and so on. And once I went for a checkup, and they said your PSA is raised for somebody your age. You're too young to have a raised PSA, so they sent me off to urology. Went to urology, and he said, yes, it's enlarged. So what we're going to do, we're going to give you some medication. And I took this drug, and the following morning, when I woke up, I could hardly walk. I felt as if somebody had kicked me in the rear end. And I thought, if this drug has done this to me in one night, I'm not going to take it. So I stopped taking it immediately. I'm in South Africa, and I went on online, Google, and I began to search, and eventually found some natural remedies that I had to get from England, got it, and began to use this thing. And when I went back to the doctor some weeks later, he says, he took the measurement, he said, oh, it's worked. What have you been doing? He said, you've been taking the tablets. I said, no. He said, what have you been doing? I said, I've been using Suppression. He said, yes, Suppression. But he knew about the natural remedy, but he didn't share it. They're not allowed to share it. But you've got to go and do your own research. But find the alternative, look at what's happening, and look at lifestyle. Always look at your lifestyle and say, can I be doing this thing differently? So drugs do not cure disease. They are poisons and alien to the body. They always have side effects. Drugs suppresses the disease, which leads to greater problems later on. So, beloved, if you are on drug medication, please stay on them. I began by saying that do not discard your drug medication because this is for your information, but you need to educate yourself so that you know how. Just like I did, all those years ago, I looked it out and I felt that what's happening to me was not right. Let me look for a healthier alternative. It's God's desire for every one of us. And so here are some natural remedies. You've got your antibacterials, you've got your antifungal, you've got your anti-inflammatories. These are the things that will help us naturally. The cayenne pepper. Cayenne is known. If you've got high blood pressure, cayenne is an excellent source for helping to lower thin the blood. They've said that cayenne pepper is known as dynamite for the arteries. So this will clear out the arteries. This is going to help you. And then fruits, vegetables. You cannot beat these things, okay?
You moved you quick, my sister was trying to take that.
Okay, sorry, let me come back. Okay, yes. So you've got pineapple, which is an anti-inflammatory. You've got ginger, anti-inflammatory, very good. Papaya. These are all the things that you had in Africa, right? You know, these are you know all of these things. The onion, powerful antibacterial. Garlic, very, very powerful. Honey. Aloe vera. These are all wonderful, wonderful plants that will help in times of illness. You know, so. And then we should be eating a lot of fruits. When folk come to me and I'm doing an assessment, I will always ask them, you know, tell me about your diet. I was in Tanzania 2 years ago. In Tanzania, we're doing some medical missionary work there in Tanzania. And one gentleman came to me and he said, I've got gastric reflux. And as we talked, he said, Pastor, I've had operation and so on, and still it hasn't gone away. And as we talked, we discovered that the Tanzanians, they're eating late in the evening and then they go to bed. And I said, well, there's your reason. You know, there's your reason. So I just changed his lifestyle. That man came back to me a week later and he was rejoicing. He said, Pastor, I don't know why I let them cut me. You know, because his symptoms were gone. Just by changing the lifestyle. Stop eating and drinking. Stop eating late at night and going to bed on a full stomach. You know, and so, you know, we just need to think about the way we're doing things. 14 natural antibiotics to fight infection. You've got your garlic, your ginger, olive leaf, onions. These are all the things that God has given to us, beloved. You know, and so just think about the way we approach ill health, and always ask yourself, okay, I value my doctor. I value my doctor. I will always go to my doctor. Doc, this is how I'm feeling. Can you tell me? I need an examination. And once the doctor has given me an examination and I know what's happening, then I say, how can I deal with this naturally? How can I deal with this in a manner that's not going to compromise my health further? All right? So these are the things that God has blessed us with, the herbs, the spices. What does the Bible say? That the leaves of the tree are for what?
Healing.
The healing of the nation, not just in the earth to come, but right now. Right now, the leaves of the tree are for the healing of the nation. And so, as I close, I trust that the Lord will be with you and bless you and prosper you in your health. Let me just say this. We do a 10-day detox. On the 10-day detox, I've seen lives change. People manage their diabetes, or the diabetes is gone. The high blood pressure is gone. One gentleman came to the farm. He said, Pastor, after 4 days, he did not need his asthma pump. You know, just through lifestyle. Just through lifestyle changes. So I just want to encourage you. The Bible says, beloved, I wish above all things that you may prosper and be in health. That's God's desire for every one of us. Okay? And so I just want to wish you all the very best. Thank you very much for the invitation to be here with you today. Yes, my sister.
I'm just wondering, what do you suggest for glaucoma?
Okay, glaucoma. You know, we'll have to talk. We'll talk, because it's the pressure in the eyes, and you know, so there's a lot of pressure going on. So let's talk some more about that. Before I finish, I will take some questions if you've got questions, and I've got some cards here I'm going to leave. I'll leave them here at the front. Any questions, please? Yes, Joseph.
Yeah, I was going to say, regarding all these, the additives that are in, when they be it plants or animals, when they're planting the fertilizers and all these GM, that's the word I was looking for. How do we combat that? Is there a way?
Yes, I think that if ever you are aware that something has been genetically modified, for example, when you go into the supermarket, you'll see the seedless grapes. And so these are foods to avoid. We don't eat seedless grapes or anything that is seedless. You want to avoid those things because they've been modified. So always try to go for the things that have the seeds in. And if you can't, I find that I can't get it in the supermarket, you go to the local Indian man or the guy from Turkey. He'll have these things. But you're absolutely right. And while you've touched on, let me just talk to you a little about the junk foods that we're using, because Joseph mentioned it. So tin food is junk. Okay, so if you're eating a lot of tin foods, that's junk food, and the reason for that is, number one, they have removed the digestive enzymes in those foods so that you can have a longer shelf life. So that food. So if you cut that apple will begin to decompose straight away because of the oxidation. But you put that apple in the tin, you can have it there for 2 years. Plus, it's got the dyes, it's got the colorings, it's got the preservatives. So you're just preserving. You're just embalming yourself. You won't have to decompose as quickly as you would normally. So this is why we avoid tin foods. So we can take tin foods once in a while, but it should not be your staple. The other junk food that you may not realize is your box cereals. So your Weetabix, your shredded wheat, all of these things, they are just junk foods because they are. So what you need to do is to avoid processed foods. That's what we're talking about. Processed foods, try to do it yourself. Okay? Any other questions? Yes, sir. Okay, so my brother's just asked a question about the multivitamins that are in the health food stores. Let me just say this, beloved. All the vitamins and all the supplements that you need, God has already given to you in your fruits and veg. All right? So you can't be eating a bad diet. I don't know, if it's chicken and chips or whatever it is you're eating, and then you go and get your supplements. It doesn't make sense. You have a wide range of the fruits and the vegetables that God has given to you. You should be taking in a good amount of raw food. So raw foods contain your digestive enzymes. So when you take a lot of raw foods, the food, this is what happens. The digestive enzymes will help the pancreas to secrete those digestive juices, so that the pancreas doesn't have to work so hard. But it's the raw foods that we neglect, and so when we were growing up back in the village in Africa, you bemoaned the fact that you didn't get a lot of meat, and you didn't know how blessed you were back in the village, because that's where the blessings were, because we were eating naturally. And then I was in, let me just say this, Tanzania 2 years ago. We're taking blood pressure, and the gentleman comes to me, sitting in front of me, and his blood pressure is 250 over 100 and something. And I looked at him, I said, how did you get here? Because I know that if he was England, we would be in the hospital immediately. And he said, I drove. And I said, tell me about your lifestyle. He said, well, I'm a businessman. I'm a businessman, and now I'm a businessman, and so I'm drinking Coca-Cola and Fanta, and he's having the burger in the city because he's arrived. He's a businessman, and he's left the village food behind, and so the blood pressure was so high, and I'm saying, brother, you need to do something about this now. And he said, well, what happens when I go back in the village and they prepare this kind of food? Well, I said, it's up to you, but you need to stop it immediately, because this man was a walking time bomb. So you really have to look at what it is that you're doing and make sure that all that you're getting a good amount of raw food, because the raw food has all the antioxidants, they have the vitamins, they have the minerals. And what you should be supplementing on is your vitamin D3. You know, as black folk, we don't get enough vitamin of the sun here, so you need to be regularly taking vitamin D3. All right? Yes.
What about frozen food?
Okay. Frozen food is good. You know, you're still getting a good amount of nutrients from your frozen foods. Ideally, if it's from your garden and you're freezing it, you know, but they will put preservatives in it if you're buying it commercially. You know, if you're buying it commercially, then it's not as great, but frozen foods are still good.
So if you buy them fresh and you freeze them, that will be all right?
That's fine, yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
I think I'm asking this on behalf of everybody. We are also busy so much so that we are not able to cook on a daily basis.
That's correct,
So if we
yes.
cook and freeze it, we still retain some of the nutrients.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And let me thank you. You just reminded me of something else, Abigail. Let me just say this. You know, sometimes you may cook food and you say, right, I'm putting this in the fridge and I'm going to eat down for the next 3 or 4 days. After the first day, it's dead food because of the process of oxidation. So you've lost all that nutrients, the nutrient in the food. Number one, when you cook food, you're losing the nutrients anyway. When you leave it overnight, then the process of oxidation means that becomes more dead, and day 3, it's walking away from the fridge by itself. You know, it's dead. It's dead food. You know, and so you really want to, as you said, if you just freeze it to give it longer life. Okay? Yes.
How about plastic? This is a big issue about plastic and getting into our bodies and causing a lot of damage.
Absolutely, 100%. And so a lot of the, you know, it's not just the plastic, but there are hundreds of chemical compounds in food packaging that's coming into our bodies. That, you know, so we just have to be very, very careful. It's the mercy of God while we're still alive. So you have to be very, very careful about the foods that you're eating. Yes, sir.
I was just thinking, how about using the microwave?
Okay. So there's another presentation that I do. So and I'm showing you all so part of it is the foods that's left over and so on, and you lost the nutrients. With the microwave, you've lost 100% nutrients plus adding toxins on top of it. So once I discovered that we don't use the microwave at all for food. Now pretend that you're in the village back in Africa. All right. Oh yes. There's a microphone we've got here, so I'll come to you as well, please. Gentleman there.
Thank you, Pastor, for the presentation. My next question was going to be on the vitamin D3.
Yes.
So my question on that is, how are they able to synthesize, that vitamin D from the sun into a tablet? How is it? Because I see it as a fraudulent practice. Because basically, how are they able to do that?
That's a very good question. I honestly can't answer it. I don't know the process. But as what I do know is that during COVID, all the people that got COVID the majority were vitamin D3 deficient. So my wife and I, even though we're living in Spain, we do take vitamin D3 supplement, and so we highly recommend that you take vitamin D3, whether you're talking 5,000 IU or 10,000 IU, just to make sure, because every cell in the body requires vitamin D3. Okay, yes, Vuzi. Vuzi is here. Let me come to Vuzi.
What about?
He's got a microphone.
What about tinned fish?
Okay, He's asking the question, what about tinned fish? Anything in a tin we should avoid because it goes through the same process of preserving, same process of colouring, same process, everything in order to keep it in the tin, give it a longer shelf life. However, if you're a fish eater, I just need to say to you that there are no unpolluted waters on the planet. Okay, we're just listening yesterday around the British Isles and the waters, the seas and the rivers around the British Isles, millions and millions of gallons of raw sewage being dumped into the waters and being brought to you in your fish that you're having. All right, this is why we should not be eating these things. Okay, all right. Yeah, there's a hand here, just here. Sorry, and then we'll come to you.
Thank you for the opportunity. I just want to ask, what about asthma?
Okay.
Inhalers and
Yes. So my sister is asking about asthma. Asthma is an inflammatory disease, and if you're going to manage your asthma, then you need the best thing you can be doing is to come off the animal products, especially milk and cheese, okay, because these are mucus forming, okay, and so you need to get those airways cleared up. But I've done the detox program with several individuals who have discovered that the airways are clear. They don't need the asthma pump so much because what we're doing is we're cleaning up the blood, but we've removed those inflammatory foods. And so the asthma is being triggered by dairy products for sure. And also could be wheat. So wheat, sugar, dairy. These are the things that are fueling the problems. So when we take the folk off those and we're taking them through the detox program, they discover that their asthma is gone. All right, or severely reduced. Okay. All right. Yes. There was a gentleman over there. Let me come to.
Yeah, I just wanted to find out, because the water we drink, is the water recycled?
It is recycled, yes.
So how do we avoid, because I drink it, but I very, very half-hearted.
Yeah. So we drink. When I come here, I'm buying bottled water, and then on the farm we have a well. Our water comes from the well. It is good water. But the other thing I would suggest to you that you can do is to buy yourself a distiller. You can go online and buy a distiller for about £60 or £70. That's the purest form of water that you can take. It detoxifies the body, helps to clean up the body. But yeah, the distilled water is very, very good. All right. I think it does about 4 litres at a time. Yes.
There's so much said about moringa.
Yes.
Cures so many things. Can you moringa?
Okay. She's asking about moringa. The moringa powder, the moringa plant, very, very good. Excellent. And what I would say to you is that whatever you're doing, you see, here we try to use the natural supplements as we do the allopathic medicines. So I'm going to lead a bad lifestyle, but give me some moringa. You need to also be doing some of the other healthful practices that's going to help what you're doing. So a lot of people will be eating badly, sleeping badly, and then I'll reach for my moringa. That's going to reverse everything. It won't. We need to be practicing a healthy lifestyle, and then these things will help us. But you can't just hope that this product is going to sort out all my bad practices. we have to be making sure that we're doing some healthy lifestyle changes that's going to help the product to work.
What is the second question about?
Yeah, Pastor, I'm asking about B12. What
Yes.
is the brand source for B12?
So, okay. B12, they like to say, well, it's vegetarians who suffer from B12 deficiency, but meat eaters also suffer from B12 deficiency. So there are things that you can be doing, like fermented foods, miso, because you really, it's very difficult to find it from a food source, okay? But, in order to help the gut, you can be taking probiotics, and you can also do some fermented foods like kimchi, kefir, and other such foods that will help with the B12. Marmite is another one. Marmite and miso. These are the things. You could be doing sauerkraut. So there's a range of things that you can do that will help with that. Okay. All right, beloved.
Last one.
Yes. Yes.
There's another question that has been generated by your comment on the leaves.
Yes.
The trees being for the healing of the nations. So somebody's asking, so what about cannabis? Because people talk about cannabis being used for many ailments and all that.
Yes.
So he's asking, is it all the leaves or can you... Because the Rastaman, they say that the cannabis is a holy herb.
Yeah.
Use
right.
it.
Good question. Beloved, I'm going to tell you something. I grew up in this country, and we went through different fads. Different fads. I've seen different fads. When we started school, in secondary school in 1968, it was the Brogues and the Crombie, the wavy hair, it was the Free Angela Davis and all that kind of movement. But in 1970s, the weed came into the playground and it never left. And I've seen the devastation that it has caused. I've visited guys in hospital. I've seen people who have committed suicide because of it, and so that word. I've got family members who are out of their brain, who can hardly function because they've smoked that stuff. My daughter was telling me she has a friend, a church brother who was round the corner from where she lived, and he decided that he was going to have some cannabis tea because he heard it was good. So he took cannabis tea, and she said he called her and said, please come and get my kids because I'm on the ceiling right now. but he needed help. And so for me, cannabis is just a dirty word for me. And it's there are some things, you're absolutely right, there are some things you just won't touch. And because, I've heard about people saying, well, cannabis, you can use this for healing, I wouldn't touch it. There's got to be other things. There's got to be other things that you could use, all right? So, beloved, thank you all very much. Yes, last question, then I'm going to go, yeah?
So, can we have some more of your cards?
I've given the cards out, but what you can do is just take a photograph of the card, please. Yeah, just take photos so that you've got it. Yes, go ahead.
There is a doctor in Kenya. He's a medical professional.
Yes.
He has opened a clinic and people are really going.
Yes.
He's advertising, getting, don't wear shoes, get yourself on earth.
Yes. I've heard of that. Yes.
You would recommend.
Yes, absolutely. It's grounding. It's not my expertise. It's not something that I've done, but I have heard that it is very good. One of the best things that you can do for yourself is just going out in the sun and getting a good dose of the sun, which is very good for healing. There are so many things that we can do naturally. So I just want to encourage you to use the things that God has given to you, but move away from the false foods, the processed, and the animal-based products. If you would do that, you would enhance the quality of your health a great deal. God bless you. And we just want to invite you. This morning, the video that I showed to you was not the promotional video. I took the wrong one off my phone, but that was just one of the sessions that we do. We do a 10-day session, but I'm encouraging you just to take some time to invest in your health, because you only have one health, and by God's grace, do everything you can to preserve it, to look after it. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pastor. As I sat down and listened to you, what I said to myself, most of us, you should have died a long time ago. No, seriously, I was listening to a pastor who was there was a funeral in Ghana, and he said he did a test. And what the test was saying, it was asking him some questions. Where you were born, your age, and they give you a score. By the time he finished the questions, the answer that came, you were supposed to be dead already. So it's only by the grace of God. Yes. But there's always a new beginning. So, Pastor, I'm not going to say what Abigail is going to say. I will leave it. But we are going to have the choir sing. Auntie Abigail will come. Then Elder Esther will give the benedict, closing prayer.